Hey folks, it's Mike with Keep It Simple Stupid Dog Training video blog. This is going to be kind of a companion. I did an article for a local magazine that was doing an article and an issue on dog bites and prevention, and I wrote an article called Anything with Teeth Can Bite. I want to go over some of the highlights here because I think it's pretty important stuff. First of all, anything with teeth can and will bite. That includes little kids. If you're a parent, you've no doubt received the letter that your child was bit by another child or your child bit another child, vice versa. Unfortunately, though, when stuff like this happens with our kids in kindergarten or preschool, we do not take them to the local shelter, have them euthanized, or give up on them. We continue working with them. Same with dogs, okay? And as always, I've got my little notes here so that I don't forget anything, but I want to kind of go over the idea of freeze, flight, fight. It's a basic psychology principle. If you've taken Psych 101, you know that an animal that is stressed, fearful, or anxious is going to first try to freeze and act like nothing is happening and hope that the scary thing goes away. If the scary thing does not go away, we go into the second step, which is flight. We're going to run away from the scary thing. That's usually when a dog tries to an avoidance technique. I'm going to get away from the scary person. And finally, if we're not very savvy about dog body language or what they're trying to tell us, human beings will then continue moving forward, trying to convince the dog that they mean no harm, but continuing to push, and then the dog goes into the third category, which is fight. And that usually is when the growling, biting, snapping, occurs. A lot of times us dog trainers hear that the dog gave us absolutely no warning, which now that you've kind of heard me talk about freeze, flight, fight, hopefully you realize the dog has been giving you signals. You just may not have been picking up on them, okay? Which is not your fault. You've never been taught one way or the other. What we're going to do here is, number one, discuss how dogs biting, even though it's not a behavior that is looked upon with, glee or happiness or things like this, it's a normal dog behavior. If we push a dog too far, they will try to make the scary thing go away. The problem is, once that cat is out of the bag and the dog realizes that the easiest way to make a scary thing go away is to bite it, we now have what's called a self-defense mechanism. And as we all hopefully realize, self-defense mechanisms are not real easy to get to go away. So from a standpoint of dog bites, an ounce of prevention will make up for a pound of cure. It's way easier to teach a dog not to bite than it is to teach a dog who bites not to bite. Okay, that being said, I want to go over 3 techniques that you can use with your dog depending on the level of development that they fall in. I want to talk about one puppy, one for adolescents, and one for adults. With puppies, I have always and will always recommend hand feeding for the first 30 days. It teaches the entire idea of don't bite the hand that feeds. It's resource controlled. The dog has to work to get a resource that they want. Makes you more important. It is just one of the easiest things in the world you can do. You can also search here on the web and find, or my blog, and find some great articles on hand feeding. But if you'll commit one piece of kibble at a time into that mouth, using commands like easy, gentle, nice, we're working on impulse control. It's wonderful, okay? As we move into the adolescent portion of dogs, and that would be, let's say, from about 6 months to 18 months. Once again, I want to work on impulse control, but I want to work on it with item exchanges. If you are an alpha dominance kind of person, which I am not, you've probably been taught that you should be able to take anything away from a dog just because you say so. The example I always use for people is if I walked into your house and simply picked up your cell phone and put it in my pocket, most people would then question me. Why did you put my cell phone in your pocket? I would turn around, look them straight in the eye, and say, well, because I can. And I think that statement should make it pretty clear that arguments are easy to have. You wouldn't appreciate me picking up your phone and just putting it in my pocket, and I would be wrong to do so. I think similarly, if you just walk around taking things out of your dog's mouth, that you're going to give them a reason to guard resources. Instead, why not think about it a little differently and say, you have something you're not supposed to have, let me have it, I'll reward you for giving it up. That way the dog does not feel that they need to guard or protect a resource because you're constantly taking things away from them. Now, lots of people at this point will say, you can't do this because you're simply bribing the dog. Well, I've got one simple response to that too. How many days in a row would you go to work this week if you realized you were no longer getting paid? Okay? Everybody deserves a paycheck for the work they put in. I don't care whether it's a liver treat, it's a squeaky tennis ball, a pat on the head, a kind word, but a reward should always be given to a dog for a job well done. Okay? So the item exchange, once again, you can go out to the blog. There's articles there about that too. And finally, from an adult standpoint, I want to talk about the idea of your job as a dog owner is not to militantly train your dog. Your job is to be the advocate for the dog. So if you already have a dog who has a growly, snarky kind of personality and is already an adult, really the training becomes for you. You have to become the advocate for that dog. Your job is to keep the dog from situations that are going to create anxiety, fear, or nervousness, because you know what's going to happen. Now, you get with a good dog trainer, and seriously, if you've got one of these dogs, don't try to do it by yourself. Get some professional help. It will end up paying dividends. But you can counter condition, you can operant condition, you can clicker train. There's lots of different ways to work with an aggressive dog. But the easiest way to work with an aggressive dog is to not put them in situations where they feel they need to be aggressive. The goal is going to be always putting a dog in a situation where they feel comfortable. You don't want to put a dog in a situation of fear, because that's just going to give them more reason to be fearful. If I put them in situations where they can constantly succeed, they start working towards feeling more comfortable. I know this is kind of a fast, furious couple of minutes about dogs, aggression, and things like this. Once again, you can get lots of information from me. Give me a call. I'm available. KissDogTraining.com. My phone number's there on the website. You can also get lots of great free information on the blog. Some other trainers that I would really recommend are Ian Dunbar with Dogstar Daily, and he has lots of cool stuff on iTunes from the podcast standpoint also. Well, guys, this is Kiss Dog Training. Keep it simple, stupid, and remember, have fun, because if you're not, neither is the dog. All right, talk to you guys later.